Three, two, one. Hey there, and welcome to Three Spoonies. We are your hosts, Claire, Joe, and Karen. This is episode number 54, where we are discussing dressing for when you're disabled. Join us as we dive in.
At Green Cat Books, in addition to our 66 authors, we love to help other authors. We have over 120 books of our own, and we also sell other authors' books, including self-help and children's ebooks. As fellow Spoonies, we know how important taking a break to rest is, so why not sit down with one of our books and relax?
greencatbooks.com. Create your legacy.
I'm Claire from Black Veil Stationery.
I'm Joe from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
And we would normally have Karen here from Pony Pony Pony, but doctors don't run to our times and she is on her way. And between us, we are three Spoonies navigating our way through life and business. We've definitely not enough spoons. Today we have Hanan with us from Intotum. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us. Would you like to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Thank you so much for having me on. My name's Hanan. I'm the founder of Intotum, an adaptive clothing brand. Makes clothing for the disabled community to make dressing easier for everybody and promote independence and individuality.
I love that. I'm really excited to find out more about what you do. So I'm going to pass over to Joe and she will get us going.
And thank you for joining us on this episode. Took me a while to find an expert for this one. We knew what we wanted to do, but it took me a while. And yet, at the moment, it's everywhere because of the Fashion Week. And I could have had my pick, but thank you for coming. You did have some stuff on London Fashion Week, didn't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, we showed at London Fashion Week this year. It's actually our second London Fashion Week. Always very exciting. Extremely busy, especially in the run up to it, making sure we've got everything prepared for it. But it was great. It was a really great show. We showed our full new collection. We had a cast of 10 amazing models that were all open casted, and that's how we always work at Intotum is we open cast all of our models for our shows and our photo shoots. So that we have real people, real representation. And yeah, it was an amazing show. I was obviously nervous beforehand. I think I get really nervous for the idea that I have to walk out too, because I know the models are going to be nervous about it. But when it's me and there's all those people in front of you, you do think, oh my God, what if I fall over? But it was lovely, and the reception to the collection was great, and we've had really amazing reception to it online as well since we started posting pictures from the show.
Yes, I mean, I think it looked fabulous. And I suppose it's like you just want to do your thing and then go, look at how beautiful it is, and then you've got to go there and go, oh yeah, hi, it's me. So how did you get into doing adaptive clothing?
So I first got into adaptive clothing, well, years ago is when I kind of first discovered it, was when I was around about 16 and I was watching my granddad go through cancer. And as a result of having a cancer for the third time, he had to get a stoma and a urostomy bag. And because of that urostomy bag, he really struggled to find clothing, specifically trousers as well, that weren't causing it irritation or pushing into the bag. And basically just adding on more things that he had to think about in the day, about how easy it is to get dressed, but also how comfortable he felt in his clothing throughout the day. And I really thought that there would be a solution out there for him. You know, like my naivety, I guess, at that age was that there must be an option for him. And I'd never kind of had personal experiences with struggles with clothing at that point that, you know, that I would consider adaptive. I just thought, oh, you know, like there'll be options, there'll be solutions, and any. And that was kind of the first instance of me discovering the word adaptive and also trying to think, okay, well, can we maybe fix this? Because I've been making my own clothing since I was about 10, 11 is when I got my first sewing machine, begged for it. Because I was making adaptive clothing without knowing it, because I was making my own clothing because I didn't like the way other clothing felt. know that this had anything to do with anything. I didn't get my ADHD diagnosis till I was 19. And so I just thought, oh, everyone just probably feels this way about things.
These fabrics, why do they wear them?
Exactly. And I didn't really realize that I was making things for myself that I preferred because of these reasons. And so that's where I started off finding out about adaptive. I didn't really have the chance to delve into it till I was at university. I was there at university. You get set briefs and tasks and projects that they like you to do. I just decided to do every single one about adaptive clothing. And so, it'd be like, make a shirt. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll make it adaptive. And that was really the chance for me to start working with other people in the disabled community and start going out and having conversations and finding out what people are really missing and what we want to see from adaptive clothing, and start making pieces that truly can make a difference rather than just pieces for me or pieces for friends and family. And yeah, that's also where I decided to start the business.
I was about to ask, and I'm probably still going to, is like, how do you sort of get your ideas on what you want to make, what needs making? But I suppose if you're in that community and you're speaking to people, that there'll always be something you either notice or they'll mention or you can ask. Like, do your ideas come directly from the disabled community?
Yeah, 100,000%. We basically we say we don't design anything unless you ask for it, because our policy is I'm never going to put you in a piece of clothing. I'm never going to decide what you want. You tell me, and then I'll do my best to make it the best it can be. And so we basically get requests all the time for specific types of pieces and style, and we try and make those adaptive. And of course, I am the creative director, so I do take some liberties, let's say. Like, I for the next collection that we've got kind of more workwear style pieces, and so we've of course tried to make sure that the collection has a cohesive style, or it'd be a little bit odd if we were releasing swimming costume in the winter. So there are some things that we have to move about, but we ultimately only pick pieces that people actually ask for. And that is a process that we follow throughout. So, the fastenings, the materials, all of that, all co-designed.
Love that. So what is your process when designing?
So the first step used to be kind of us going out and asking those questions. And now a lot of the time people come. We get a lot of people coming to us, which is great, but we still obviously do that outreach and we still hold focus groups and go and speak to people. But now that, we're more established and that people know who we are more, we get a lot of suggestions without having to ask, or we can, simply put up a story on Instagram if we want to. And what do you hate about skirts? And get so many responses that we can immediately go through and start to find common issues. But also, we've built up a lot of knowledge over years of doing this. I am an expert in adaptive fashion, and my specialty means that if someone says, I struggle with buttons, my brain's immediately kind of rolling through all of the options and different things we could do instead of that. It's kind of like just a Rolodex of fastenings at this point. So that's kind of the very start point, is what is the problem you're facing, and that will be the clothing, not the disability at all. And then how can I come up with with you? And so the very first steps is always just trial and error, drawing things, testing things in small scale, sampling, until we get to something where we think, okay, this could actually work, and we actually make a piece of clothing. We make more of a complete sample that we then get people to test and try. And we try washing it, we try stretching, crumpling it up, all sorts, because I also want to consider, how's that piece of clothing going to live with you as a person? Are you going to shove it in a bag and then need to take it out the next day, and you don't want it to look like a crumpled up wrap? You need to be able to wash it easily. I'm so annoyed when pieces are like hand wash only. Who's got time for that? Never mind people in the disabled community. Like, we're just adding on tasks that people don't have the capacity for. And so it's important for me that our clothing fits into people's lifestyle, as well as being easier to put on and comfortable to wear throughout the day.
Amazing. I mean, so I imagine it's like it's like looking good, feeling good, functional, as well as how does it affect your life in general? That is a lot of things to consider and sort of get right. Just throw a random one in. What's your favourite piece you've ever made?
That's what I was going to ask.
It always changes, to be fair.
Yeah,
But
it's whatever you made last, right?
yeah, well, it can be. I think my favorite, all-time favorite, is probably going to be our bestseller, though, because I love the reaction to it every time. So we make a wheelchair trench coat. It's a backless trench coat. So from the front, it looks kind of, like a quote unquote ordinary trench coat. But from the back, it ends at seat level. And my favorite thing is when I lift up one of our trench coats and flip it and people see that it's back. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, we get, because people didn't realize, and that is what we're trying to achieve. That's the beauty of what we're trying to achieve, that it doesn't adapt. And because I think so many people just have a look. And that's really what we're trying to kind of that stigma at Intotum, is the idea that we're making adaptive fashion, not adaptive clothing. And so our pieces are pieces that anybody would love to have in their wardrobe. And I also love it because when we first released it, I was, so many people were telling me, I'll just do it in black. Everyone wants a black coat. But I just had this vision because I'd spoke to people and they were telling me they want bright colors. And I was like, we're going to do it in pink. We're going to do it in bright pink. I feel it. And so many people were telling me not to do this. I mean, my own mum, she was like, I think this is a bad idea. And then I released this bright pink coat and people absolutely loved it. And so I was right. I was right to trust my gut because obviously I'd spoken with lots of people before I make these decisions, but there'll always be doubters, I guess. People wanted a pink coat. And that is what we kind of carried forward. And so for our next release of the coat, we've made it even better. And I really love it. And that's probably why it's my new favorite, is we've made it even easier to put on. We've made the fabric even better. It's in a gorgeous olive green, burgundy wine colour. We've got 2 different options at the moment coming. And we've also added a hood because that was a key piece of feedback we got from the first coat. Is most trench coats, I'd say 99% of trench coats out there on the market don't come with a hood. But obviously, when we're working with people that are wheelchair users, a lot of people can't hold an umbrella whilst they're in their wheelchair. They're either self-propelling or they have other things to be doing.
Yeah, and that's a whole different set of issues.
And so we wanted to make sure that it provided everything you wanted it to, but can still have that option of not needing it, because we also work with people that said, I don't want a hood. I find that to be too overwhelming. And so the hood is removable with magnets as well. And because we've got pockets on the chest as well that are hidden, you can fold that hood right up and just stick it in your pocket for when you want it.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, I do remember when I used to own and wear a trench coat. It was, of course, a leather one. It was in my goth days. My only issue was always it's got no hood. It's like, it's gorgeous. It wasn't warm, but it covered enough. But then it rained and I was like a drowned rat. So I had to wear a hoodie underneath it, and that just ruined the look. So do you follow fashion trends, or do you go with what you think would look good?
It's a balance of both, because we really want to adhere to the idea that, it's something that we always come back to. It's actually almost become one of our core pillars, is clothing that looks like everybody else's. And this is something that was said to me right at the very beginning. This is, years ago when I was starting out and doing my very first kind of focus groups with people. I had this phrase said to me repeatedly by different people, that I want to look like everybody else. And I think it's really important that, if people want to stand out and, look fancy and all these things, absolutely. And we're here for that too. But we're also here to be able to create pieces that are wardrobe staples or that look like they belong on the high street. Because ultimately we are a brand that's trying to be your go-to. And so we definitely consider what's out there, what's coming in next season. We're not trying to be a fast fashion micro trend kind of brand. And so
it's overall trends.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. We're never going to be able to keep up with the likes of fast fashion, and releasing collections every kind of month, and therefore they're able to, what's the color of the week? It's yellow. We can't do that, but we can definitely keep up with seasonality and keep up with the pieces that people want to see. And especially because we focus on creating wardrobe staples, it does mean that they're pieces that are timeless. You know, I've got trench coats I've owned for 10 years that I still bring out every single winter or every single spring, depending on what it is. A coat, you know, can last you a lifetime, but also that's the same. We've got denim coming out. And so denim does that's seasonless.
To last, usually. Well, sorry, it used to be made to last.
Do as well. And that's why people often think that clothing nowadays, it should be really crazy cheap because they're used to it being crazy cheap prices and quality. And as somebody that's been trained in design and that, you know, I understand and appreciate quality when it comes to clothing because I've made my own. I've bought my own fabrics. I've seen how expensive it can be. You know, I was a 13-year-old going, oh, no, I won't buy it. I'll make it. And it being triple the price by the end of it once I've bought all the bits for it. And so I do understand and appreciate the value of clothing. And that's something that, you know, our customers also understand and that we input in our clothing is I go out there and I source, honestly, the best materials that I can because I want our clothing to last you and I don't want you to have to be buying new all the time or things kind of, you know, just falling apart. That's not what we're about at all. And so, you know, of course that does make our clothing slightly more expensive, but it does mean it will last you a long time and, you know, you can nurture that piece of clothing.
It's something sort of you have to learn the hard way usually. Is like, cheap clothing is cheap, it's going to fall apart. But a lot of the mindset, especially disabled people, poorer people, anybody who's been on that poverty line who's struggled, as many disabled people do, is it's cheap, I can afford this. Whereas if you go for something more expensive, it's going to last longer, so you don't need to replace it. And it's just sort of shifting that mindset. Yes, I need it. So long as it's not an emergency, spend extra time, spend that extra money, it will pay itself off in dividends. But it's a really hard lesson to learn when you've not got much money.
I truly understand and is trying to strike a balance of is how can we make our clothing more affordable without compromising on the extra functionality that we need to have built in and on that quality without compromising on our ethics as well and making sure that we work with ethical factories. And it's just such a hard balance, especially as a small business, because we just don't have that purchasing power yet of those big businesses that can place, you know, 100,000 pieces of something. And so they can negotiate on pricing when we're asking sometimes for literally only 30 of something. You know, we have to listen to what they're willing to give us if they're even willing to work with us a lot of the time, because we actually get turned away from a lot of factories that don't want to work with us because they think our clothing's too hard to make.
Oh, wow.
Cheap and easy, therefore, go away. Terrible. You think that they'd want to help to be part of sort of something bigger, but I'm aware business often doesn't run like that.
Unfortunately, their kind of mindset is profit and money. And it's, you know, it is down to people in a smaller business that are kind of trying to make that change.
Yeah, we've been lucky enough to actually find a really amazing factory that's working with us, willing to work with us in that kind of small batch capacity. And it is a female-owned factory, and she really had never actually done adaptive before and has said, you know, I've absolutely loved working on this because it's been a real project for us, learning about it and learning the best way to do it because they'll make their suggestions of why don't we sew it this way? But obviously, because I've sewn the original samples of a lot of these pieces, I'll say, oh, no, actually, we did it this way. And we often find then together the best way to do it. And that is, you know, the factory that we want to then stick with, that we want to continue to make with and therefore invest in the long term as well, is the kind of people that understand the difference we're trying to make here. And or by kind of giving us a free pass this time round to let us place those smaller orders. The hope is that as we grow, we continue to support each other's businesses.
Yeah, it's really good that you found that as well. Because yeah, that sounds like someone's actually got sort of the mindset that you're looking for. Claire, should we take a break?
So let's take a little break for some spoons full of loveliness, which is lots of great things from our sponsors.
Glow Social supports small business owners who want visibility without burnout. Through social media, admin support and digital services, they help bring stability, consistency and clarity to businesses that feel overwhelmed or stretched too thin. Glow Social understands that life doesn't always run smoothly, whether that's health, family responsibilities, or simply having too much on your plate. Their flexible, supportive approach is designed to work around real life, not against it. If your business needs calm structure, clearer messaging, and support that actually fits your needs, Glow Social is there to help you move forward with confidence. Oh, did I reply to that email? Or did I just think about replying to it? Why is my inbox shouting at me? I need to do the work, but first I need to tidy the admin. But the admin is the thing stopping me doing the work. If that feels familiar, you're not alone. I'm Rachel Chiverton, the Focus Guru, and I support time-poor UK solopreneurs, especially neurodivergent business owners who are spinning plates, juggling ideas, and quietly drowning in admin. I don't try to fix you, I help calm the noise. From inboxes and transcripts to content uploads, systems, and those jobs that sit on your to-do list draining energy by just existing. I step in so your brain can breathe and your business can move forward in a way that actually works for you. If your business feels busy but not clear, you can find me at getfocused.guru or search Rachel Chiverton on LinkedIn.
Sting. Hello and welcome back. This is our episode on dressing for you when you're disabled. We've got Hanan here who runs, I can't remember the name, Intotum? Intotum, that's it. My brain works.
Is it really?
No, it doesn't. And she's been told us she creates adaptive fashion, budget adaptive fashion, because we want things to last, and it really helps if it does. So thinking about sort of looking forward, what's your dream?
So the big dream within Totem is definitely having us maybe be on your high street. I really want us to have a physical space, whether it's our own store or a space in another store. I think it would be amazing if our customer could truly buy our clothing off the rack. The entire time, that's what we've been working towards, is the ability to buy your clothing with the adaptations in without having to, then take it somewhere else to be tailored or add in all those extra steps. I could make that even more accessible, that it can, when you're out and about at the shops, it's there. That's really the next step and the next dream for Intotum, because I think it's so important we also see adaptive fashion in the mainstream and in the shops like everything else, just like how we've got a maternity section in the shops or a children's section or even just a shoe section. Why is there not an adaptive section?
Yeah, it's just another normal subsection.
Absolutely. And that's really what I want to see
The
next.
feel of material, because I know, like, my son's autistic, and he will literally stick to the same kind of tracksuits and stuff like that because it's the feel of the material and how it feels on his skin. I haven't been able to get him to wear jeans for probably a good 10 years now. And every now and then when it's like we go somewhere, it's like, oh, like, we need to, like, just do smart casual, like, let's get a pair of jeans. But we can never find any that the inside feels comfortable on his skin. So I'm really intrigued to see what you come out with, because I can be like, oh, maybe I can get him in some jeans.
Yeah, I think your son, and I think a lot of people are going to love our jeans. I know I'm slightly biased, but we put a lot of work into finding, honestly, I think the best denim I've ever felt. Everyone that has tried and tested our jeans so far has told us they are literally the most comfortable jeans they've ever worn. So
Wow.
I am very excited for those to come out because, yeah, I don't understand why so much denim, you literally feel like you're battling the pair of jeans. When you're spending money on something, you want it to be something you want to wear, not you just feel you have to wear to look like everybody else. So yeah, that's what we've really tried to incorporate is they're super stretchy and super soft, but also really durable quality jeans. And with all of that added functionality built in. It's a key thing is we want people to be able to feel our clothing, just like you said there, Claire, because when we had people actually able to come and feel the clothing, and we saw so many people actually coming up to us saying, oh, I've had this in my basket for ages, but I just wanted to feel it. I wanted to see it in person before I bought it. That makes total sense. for me, I'm the kind of person, if I am shopping online, if it's available in store, I'll often go try and see it. If not, I'll definitely be looking at reviews to see if I can try and figure out on camera what kind of material it looks like. And so that's why when we're posting online, I also try and show how stretchy and how soft the materials are. But there's just an extra level that comes from when you're able to feel it and hold it in your hands. And I think if we can bring that experience to more people by having pop-ups or shops or a shop in shop, that would be amazing, so that people can actually experience Intotum firsthand.
Sounds like a good idea to me. 'Cause I mean, I do all my shopping online pretty much these days, but Debenhams used to be my go-to because I could there was all sorts in one place and I could go and feel everything. I mean, I still do it if I'm going to the shop. My hand is out. I want to feel everything, but that's just me.
No, I'm the
But
same.
yeah,
Going somewhere where it's like I can actually feel what the material feels like. You buy jeans online sometimes, and they're not proper like what I'd call denim material, and you kind of like, no, they're going bad, or it just doesn't feel right. And again, I'm one that I will look at all the reviews, and not just from where I'm buying it from, but I'll try and find that item online somewhere else just to kind of get an idea of what it's like. So getting to actually feel it makes such a difference when you're buying.
probably without sensory issues, it makes a difference. But if you've got sensory issues, it's important, really important. One of the clothing lines got a line in Primark this year. What are your thoughts on that one? 'Cause I haven't been to see it. I keep meaning to, but that means leaving the house.
I mean, I have seen the range actually, and I think it's honestly great that we're seeing more adaptive fashion on the high street. We've had a lot of people asking me, "Oh, well, you know," I had some people saying, "You don't really need to do yours anymore," sort of thing, because it's out there now. And to that I say, well, that's great that it's served people and that people have been able to buy it, enjoy it, love it. That's great. And I love that. But nobody shops in one place. Nobody wears all of their pieces from one place, and no one range.
One shop doesn't exist, just one. The clothing shop.
Exactly. And I think if we said to, non-disabled people, "Oh, well, you've got Primark, you can all shop in Primark, and we're shut in every other shop," there'd probably be riots. So of course, it's exactly the same ethos when we're talking about the disabled community and their access to clothing. And so, yeah, I think it's great to see more options. And even since my inception, as in Totem, there's been so many other adaptive brands popping up around the world, even. And everyone's got a different style, different aesthetic, different approach to adaptive fashion, different, collections, different pieces they offer. So, yeah, and just as much as when I'm wearing my clothing, I'd be pairing it with clothing from other brands. I expect that my customer will be doing the same. And so, if my customer wants to wear some of my clothing with another adaptive brand, that's absolutely fine with me. I'm all for options and choices.
Yeah, so wear what works for you. I've got to ask, what is it on the mannequin behind you? Those of you who are listening to us, there is a mannequin behind Hanan with some clothing on, and I can't stop looking at it, and I want to know what it is.
No, I've been wondering since we first got on, and I'm just like,
Let's shift it more. So we've actually got that's the mannequin there. I'm yet to name it. I did have a name at some point, but it's escapes me. And the mannequin is wearing one of our puffer gilets. From This was from our very first drop.
Is that a bag pocket?
Yes, so the bag pocket is removable from the jacket as well. So it zips off with magnetic zips, and we've got the same magnetic zips on the coat itself. So rather than having to fiddle them together, they just click. And yeah, the bag is fully removable with a magnetic zip there and Velcro at the top, and it's all waterproof and breathable material. And this one actually has a slightly higher front, curved front, because therefore it stops when you're sat in it, creating that kind of Michelin Man puffer coat effect. And so there's lots of kind of little features built into our clothing, even just like the zip loops and things, to make it easier. But yeah, this was, a piece that actually had so many iterations before it came out. I think I made about 20 to 30 different versions of this coat before we decided to settle on this design. But it was actually inspired by working specifically with wheelchair users that were annoyed with how their crossbody bags are always shifting and moving about and ending up behind them. And so I was like, well, let me just make the bag stay, make it stick. And so we came across our built-in gilet design.
I like it. Thank you.
I really like it. What other colours does it come in?
So it comes in beige and it comes in a cobalt blue.
See, this isn't a podcast episode for Claire. It's just shopping.
You know what, though? I'm actually thinking ahead to when I go to download next year, or this year by the time the podcast comes out. And it's like, because everyone's saying to me, like, take something protective just in case as well. And I'm not the kind of person that likes a handbag or a crossbody bag. If it can go in my jeans pockets, I'll take it. But I always need more space. And I'm like, that would be perfect.
Well,
That
if you're a pocket
is-
kind of person, then you will definitely like Intotum. We're big on pockets. And so all of our kind of cargo style trousers that we offer.
I've had a good stalk.
Nice. But we also have coming as well as part of our denim launch, which should have just come out at the time of this episode. A shacket, a denim shacket, which is our first time doing one, and that has not only pockets on the outside but big internal pockets as well.
I feel like she's read my mind and just made something amazing. This is going to be epic.
That's all right. I've got like a weight loss goal end point then. It's like I must weigh my goal weight by the time this comes out. See, one of my questions was going to be when sourcing like opinions and asking things, was half the comments, "Can I have pockets?"
Yeah, a big one is always pockets. I mean, I think everyone knows the joy of finding pockets in an outfit they didn't know were there. And so imagine if you knew they were there and they were there to start with, it's an added bonus. And so we wanted to make sure that pockets were accessible because especially, for people that are ambulatory or wheelchair users, when they're putting things in their pockets, they're falling out all the time because they're always at your waist. And they rarely actually shut. And so that was creating huge issues. And then, respectively, a lot of women's, traditionally, the pockets are super small. And so you can't even put your phone in your pocket, which is just rubbish. So
I mean,
how can we fix this and make your pockets obvious and give you lots of them?
that was one of my problems last year. I think it was last year. I was going to an awards ceremony. I bought myself new posh togs. It had like a tail at the back. And the bag just didn't go with it because I also have crutches. So it's like the bag doesn't work. What can I do? And I ended up getting basically belt pouches to carry the stuff I needed for me. And even then, it's then close to the crutches. It doesn't quite work. It's like more pockets would be ideal. Shit, I don't like a bag to start with. And then it's like,
more pockets in everything, I think, would make everything great. And so hidden pockets in places, and we've put big cargo pockets in places, internal pockets. And that's something that we're trying to add into some of our other pieces as well, is we're trying to find ways that we can do it without it, necessarily changing the way it looks or fits you. Is kind of that next step that we're developing. So hopefully by the time it's our next collection, probably towards the end of 2026, that we'll be having new styles with even more pockets.
yeah, that is the problem. It's like if you've got a limited number of pockets, everything has to go in it. So it just ends up with a lump. It's like if you've got lots and then you just smooth it around. It's all good. Claire, do you have any questions other than where can I buy all this?
I've already got the website saved. It's fine. I'll be in the inbox, Hanan's inbox as well, being like, "What have we got coming next? Can I see a sneak peek?" So we talked about like what was your favorite item to make, but have you? Obviously, you've been doing this for quite a while. Have you had items that are like a bit of a nightmare item to kind of get it working properly, and had that moment of being like, "Oh, do I just give up or do I persevere?"
Yeah, I think there's definitely moments where things just don't go right, or also moments where we've had to drop things because it will just be too expensive to make. And so what we're always trying to do is make our products, the best they can be, the most functional they can be, and add in as many features as we possibly can. But sometimes we have to take away because I'm really bad for just going, oh, I'll add this and this and this and this. And then it kind of, when you add too many features, they start to actually make it unfunctional. Add too much to one piece, it can actually overcomplicate it and it stops serving its purpose. And so there's definitely times where I've had to kind of take a step back and go, what am I really trying to achieve with this piece? And what would have the most impact for the most people? And so, maybe next season we can do it with that feature in, and this season we'll do it with this one in instead, so that we can balance it out.
super excited and want one magical piece of clothing that does everything.
Exactly. I really would. I really would. But then we've also had problems with just how expensive things are to make versus what, we are willing to charge our customers. And, it's a real balance all the time. Like we've had some pieces actually recently where we got really far in the process and I really looked at the goals, and I truly think, and we are able to find a way to get these pieces out, people are going to love them. They're probably going to sell out because I can just really love them. They were just so expensive to make that honestly, I would have to be selling them at 100% loss or something to be able to put them out there, because we as a business we are a business, not a charity, but we are definitely not a profits focused business. We're not marking our prices up to try and scam people or anything like that. We're doing this because we're a social purpose business. So we really just trying to cover our costs as a business. But
It's just like, do they end up back to the drawing board? Is there a different way I can do this?
is one thing about me. I will never ever give up. And so being told no is basically the equivalent of telling me, oh, I have to do it now then.
That one.
So as soon as I hear, oh, it's just too difficult, it's not going to work, I'm like, okay, so it's a challenge. And I love to win. I'm one of 5 girls. I'm competitive. I'm going to win. And so that's really the next step, is for us figuring out a way to make it work. And, I've already got lots of ideas, approaching different people that potentially we could work with to make it work. And also there's always new innovation happening. There's so many new fastenings, or like even just zips and buttons and all sorts being made. It's really important we just keep our finger on the pulse, because something new might come out that means that we can make that piece then.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, nothing's ever a no. It's a, we'll get there. Okay. Back burner.
Hanan, do you have anything any like tips for people, anything that you want to put out there for yourself and your business?
I would say when it comes to dressing with a disability, my biggest piece of advice is always dress what makes you feel the most you. You never need to wear something just because somebody else is telling you to, or you think you should be. And ultimately, we are here to listen. And so if there's something that you wish was out that you've not seen, like, please contact us. Please let us know, because if you have ideas that you want to see put into production, made, we're your people. We're the people that are out here trying to make it happen, trying to change fashion, trying to really include everybody. So yeah, I would definitely check out Intotum first as your first port of call if you're struggling with clothing, because we really have got some amazing pieces that we've put a lot of work and a lot of love into. And past that, please contact us, because I'm sure there's something we can do if there's something that you wanted that's different.
We put in all of your links in the show notes so people can easily access them as well. So thank you for joining us, Three Spoonies, on episode number 54. Yes, I did have to check that. We would love to know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our weekly podcast and leave us a review. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. All of our links will be in the show notes. We will see you next week for community questions. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.